Good Thursday morning, everybody. Welcome to Hot Mic on a beautiful day, the 21st day of May, 2026. Great to be back in studio. Shout out to my guy, Sam Getzinger, for filling in for me yesterday. We had fun on the zoo field trip yesterday. More on that later on in the show. Today is a big day for you college football nerds out there. We mentioned it on Tuesday. For some, we were officially 100 days out. Today, the countdown clock can, quote-unquote, officially begin because we're 100 days out from the start of the new college football season. Week 0 for the last time. We'll acknowledge that because next year it all starts a bit earlier. But 100 days from today, August the 29th, is North Dakota State's first football game as an FBS school. And how about this way to start our show? We have the head coach of the Bison to start our show off this morning. I believe right before he's going on vacation. It's a good way to remind him that, hey, you're 100 days out from a football game. Did you need a reminder, Tim Polasek? Did you know that today is 100 days out?
The only reason I knew came in the office and Derek Lucan, Todd Phelps, and Teamworks or our communication platform has advanced so much that now the video that we have a countdown clock in the weight room and up in the offices, and then that's also tied to like our workout and our performance highlight. And so that was the only reason I knew. And then I got the message from you, and I was excited to do it. It's kind of that like reality check. Okay, spring recruiting, we're in the middle of that. We know camps are coming up, official visits of 30 guys this June, and so forth and so on. But it's also time, okay, guys, check back in with your guys. They've only been gone for like 10 days, but they need to be dialing it in. Next week, we roll.
You've been on the road, which I know you talked to us about the end of spring practice. This is the last time you could do it in this particular window. How successful? I know it has been. You can't talk specifically, but I know it's been successful. We had your future quarterback on earlier this week. What was this last stretch for you on the road been like?
There's been some really unique, fun, dynamic conversations. I've really enjoyed, I'll tell you what, it looks like we're being more aggressive in certain areas. And I guess if you just look at paper and offers, but the work that Pat Lilly, like in Eric Amoko, in Dallas, combining what information he had coming into here, we were able to run and get on some targets. That was really good. And then it being backed up by some evaluations now with more people in our recruiting department, Josh Rosenthal. Just a different vibe. I felt more comfortable being out there with the high school coaches and then being able to get on the attack and try to set those guys on some visits. And then, Scottsdale and Vegas are going to produce at least a couple official visits. I'm a little bit on edge when you only get one shot when they're on campus the first time. Yeah. I'm much better if they're on campus 2 and 3 times. So it was awesome. I really tried to look at it like, not a final hurrah or anything, but like, if this is the last time I'm going to be out in spring, let's enjoy it because you guys know how much I do appreciate being out there. But then I get on the phone with Jake Dickert, and one of the conversation pieces is to put the head coaches back on the road 15 to 20 times from January to the end of spring. And so they'll change the calendar again, I promise you, and we'll continue to try to work through it.
I want to go back to, you mentioned new locales, Las Vegas being one. You've hit Arizona in the past, but tell me about now a concerted effort to go and do now Mountain West locations to try and recruit high school football players.
I kind of look at things a couple different ways. The senior camp stuff is changing. Okay, so there was a certain element of going out there and you knew that you had a real shot to get a certain level of prospect to still come to camp. As that kind of drifts away and falls away, yes, being out on our targets and being out on our primary people is important, but getting the data on 28s and collecting names on 28s and trying to make sure we're ahead in that ballpark has become equally as important. And so I do think with the people that we have, we can handle, okay, let's get into Vegas for 2 days in the winter and a day or 2 in the spring. Let's get into Scottsdale for 3 days in the winter, 2 to 3 days, depending on the volume of the prospects. And so I thought those were easy fits. We were really smart about, okay, where do you start? How do you get back to Fargo financially? We're trying to really do a good job still respecting and honoring the budget as far as recruiting goes. And then I like the idea of Devin just kind of sliding through Kansas, the junior colleges down to Tulsa as well.
I guess I know the level of player in Texas and California. Is the level of player really good in Las Vegas? I'll ask you, is it pretty good right now?
Well, I think the one thing is you got to have some presence according to where you play. That's first. I think we do have a national brand, and the reason I'm comfortable saying that we do have a national brand. Okay, and when you're in those areas, the B matters a lot more than the C. Recognizability, those kids are into recruiting. It's a different kind of mindset. They want to play at the very highest level possible, maybe not just the very best program for them. And so as you get into those areas, yeah, I think so. I think there's enough. If you really look at it, there's about 45 to 50 schools that track in a general area. So if we come up with 12 targets, that could be 2 days of work, and then we can move on. It's just, can we be consistent in there like we are in Minnesota, like we are in Wisconsin, like we want to be, moving forward in Kansas City and Omaha.
Let me ask you now, you mentioned it's 100 days out. So, and I know you've had some coaches already working on early games. So let me just, Jacksonville State is right off the hop. What kind of work has been done to get ready for Jacksonville State?
Yeah, and guys, we got to move past this. We just all got to recognize it. You're not looking at personnel that's going to carry over. So that's the complicated thing with game ones. And we got this isn't change. We've been doing this for 5 years now. So being able to be rule and principle oriented going into that game and trusting what we're doing in fall camp is going to be critical. But they're a multiple front team that does, the coverages complement each other very well. And so us being able to recognize that at the quarterback position and play through progressions is going to be important. Obviously, what I see across the board in all three phases, there's athleticism. Just like when we played them back in whatever it was, 14.
15. Yeah.
And 15, I'm sorry. And you're encouraged there. And then offensively, they have some weapons that they can obviously deal the ball to and get into space. And I think they're well coached up front in the offensive line, and that's kind of a broad deal, but it's exciting, right? The first FBS game in the Dome, it's a opponent that we kind of at least recognize the name, and I think 9-win team, and so it's a very formidable opponent. It's just the personnel stuff always has me on edge a little bit.
They got a 6'8" wide receiver that gets me, that get my attention looking at them. Like, that's got to be the tallest wide receiver we're ever going to see in the Dome, I would think.
Well, it was funny because one of the guys mentioned that or something, and I just said, well, make sure we get our hands on him, disrupt him. But that's about as much as I've known about him. I'm going to do a good job. You know how busy I've been with some other things. I got to make sure I do a really good job. If it's raining, I'm going to be in here. Okay, some mornings, and I got to really do a nice job in the summertime of getting acclimated with all the opponents. I've done my due diligence on Air Force. I've watched New Mexico enough last year. Man, are they tough. They're a good football team. Wyoming's got a really good front. I think their D tackles are extremely good. And this is really going to be fun. I keep coming back to it's going to be a process. We're going to be really competitive. If we stay healthy, we've got a good football team. But I just keep looking at every turn. These teams bring something to the table that's a little bit different than the Missouri Valley week in and week out.
You have been tinkering still with your football roster. I don't know how specific you can get with the guys you've added, but tell me about that process of adding some more depth at wide receiver, another depth at running back. You got a guy at a Notre Dame at corner. Just tell me, after evaluating what the spring was, that we still want to add pieces here.
Well, we knew, it's kind of interesting. We knew we'd have some flexibility. Okay, again, the decision when it came in was at just a really finite time. Because even if you look at some of the guys that we added late in the 26 class, some walk-ons, maybe we would have held on to 105's counter spots because we know we have more wiggle room with scholarships. And so as Grant Olson, he's kind of the numbers guy as far as scholarship allocation and things like that, continued to look at that. It's just some opportunity popped up. And then unfortunately we had 2 season-ending injuries. With Braylon Tolliver, we're going to take our time with him, man. Is he a special talent? And Tucker Thyman is equally. I mean, he was doing a really nice job, but those guys are not going to be back and ready. So you kind of can inactivate them. We honor their scholarship, and then that's where the portal is a positive. You find some seniors that are just going to come off your roster. There's 2 guys that in December will be done. So that's one thing. The second thing is we've lost a lot of talent, and I thought we just had a little bit of a gap, like in numbers, at the receiver position. If you look at the juniors and you look at the sophomores, what's kind of there? I mean, Jackson Williams should really be a redshirt freshman. And so there's just a little bit of a gap, and I understand it. It happens in recruiting. And so we looked at it and we needed to identify and we needed to take a shot. Okay, I'm not saying we're gambling. We were thorough. But we needed to take a shot at adding the 2 senior pieces, and we'll see if the Jacksonville State, McCants gets his second year.
Yep.
But that might provide a punch. And then you look at Tucci, okay, I just like that he's kind of filling a gap. I told him, this is more of a high school recruiting deal because he's got 3 to play. And, man, this guy can fly, 10'6", and he's 6'3", 200 pounds. And so I'm excited about those additions. And then, obviously, I just wanted have to create competition. And Braylon was doing that at running back. And, man, am I excited about that addition at running back as well. I call him Neil.
Yeah.
So
well, and he can fly as well. He was a track guy. We had him on a couple weeks ago, and Pooney just his highlight tape, Tim, just pops when you're looking at it.
Well, his spirit and energy, and him and Tucker both, I think, can provide some leadership in the middle of the season. They are very high-level intellectual kids that want to be part of a great culture. I'm excited about that, and I still think he's a little bit young to football in ways.
Yeah.
And maybe we can. I told Sam, I want you with him some in the summer. With Zooms. Can we get his best football in his senior year? He's an impressive. Take King Frazier and kind of add some Bruce Anderson elements of his body type. That's kind of what you're looking at, except taller. He's a big kid.
For people that don't know, for fans that now the calendar is so different, we talked about the calendar, but for coaches now, is this your only window you have quote-unquote off? July is going to get hijacked here, we know soon. So can you fill people in on what the next few weeks are like? I know you have camp season coming, but what's the next couple weeks like for you and your staff?
Well, I'm so grateful for the time with Coach Bull because he was able to kind of talk about these shifts and where the calendars are kind of going. And so what we're kind of doing, first of all, we don't say no to anything. I mean, I can't wait to get to the Foundation Golf event out in Bismarck. I can't wait to be in Holly again. Unfortunately, I'm going to miss Velva because I'll be at Media Days in Vegas. But my point there, I guess, is we've shifted a couple quote-unquote vacation days to like a Friday in February. Okay, this week, right now that we're going into, there's coaching staffs that'll be off all next week. Penn State, for an example.
Yeah.
Iowa State, I know coaches are driving to their lake place right now. And so today, our guys don't know it, but I'm going to cut them loose at 12 o'clock, and I'm going to ask them to be back here on Tuesday. It's our first year in this first league. We need to work, but we do need to get away. So to answer your question, yes, I think I've been gone 22 out of where we sit today, 22 out of 26 or 27 nights or something like that. Dan Larson's been back in the office doing some scripting for fall camp. We basically, when we get back, I don't know that there's an off day in there until June 23rd. And it's high intensity with the official visits, a lot of coaching at the camps. I'm so excited about our junior high camp with pads on. I told our guys, get ready to coach. They deserve to be coached from stances to starts to finish. And that's an exciting time, but June has become a disaster as far as what we're handling, but it's just part of the job. Yeah. And then we'll take basically about 2.5 weeks off. And then we're kind of some flexible office hours getting around our kids. And then you know how it is. We're up and running on whatever, the 23rd or 24th of July, and here we go.
A couple last things for you, and I appreciate you doing this morning. Josh Rosenthal was here. That is another evolution of a position. Describe how you got him and what his exact role, I probably am sure is going to be fluid going forward, but what his role is going to be now on the team.
Well, his role is right now, when I was on the road, it's just another unbelievable sounding board. In addition to Dan and Grant, because I'm a guy that likes to talk through recruits. And I'm a guy that likes to challenge our coaches. Do you want to coach this guy? This is what I saw. So now there is an element, and Pat was good in the evaluations, but Pat was just getting hammered from on campus to faculty to administration and like so many things to do in between. But Josh is another great sounding board. The idea is for Josh to do a good enough job that someday I would call him the GM. He knows that. I'm not afraid of saying that, but I'm not interested in giving that guy a title that he's in his first 6 months. And so that's kind of the idea behind it. And it already has taken a lot of pressure off of me as far as scholarship allocation. What do we have available? That's kind of Grant and Josh. When we get to the NIL stuff in December, and we're going to hold on to as much money as we can to retain as many players as possible, Josh is going to be at the forefront with Pat, with Grant, and so that I can lead the team and I can develop culture and I can lead and coach football rather than all that other stuff. And then, have a little bit more energy and juice for those things. I'm excited about it. Hey, listen, that South Dakota team got good in a hurry.
Yeah.
And I think based on my knowledge, Bob Nielsen, number one. Number two, I was told Josh was right there building that roster out. And I respected that, and we did our due diligence, and we're excited to have him.
For people that don't know, how is that common now? Most all FBS teams, Power 4 teams certainly have general managers, right?
Yeah, I don't know where 138 general managers showed up. Okay, and that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like in our program, things are earned. Okay, and that's the direction that we need to go, because otherwise I won't be a better coach tomorrow. I'll be a better head coach, CEO, I hope. But there's too much on our plates as far as managing
Right.
NIL. We're trying to keep that tight with the earn it system and things like that. But yeah, to answer your question, Dom, yes, it's kind of a sexy term too. It's a director of player personnel position, and then it's a segue to the cap.
Last thing, we even you were in here, I think, shortly after the contract stuff became out. Now it's official. Tell me about I know you told Kolpak last week, it's not about the name, it's about the program. But describe that for people that don't understand, I would say this is the going rate if you're an FBS head coach. Having it all done, tell me about hey, it's done, we can focus and move forward, I guess.
Yeah, I've gotten some really cool texts from support. On one side of it, it's awfully humbling, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I've never had a goal with a dollar amount or anything like that. But the reality is that our hat's got to go off to our support. We're not diving into taxpayer dollars and so forth and so on. So it is what it is. I'm so grateful and appreciative. I understand college coaches are getting paid X amount of money right now and nowadays. I mean, you see the renewals of contracts after a 9-win season. So we're fully committed to it. We're very grateful and thankful. But I can tell you over time, this football job isn't like just from fall till the end of the season. We're on this thing, we're available, and I'm not sure what the deal is, but the position at North Dakota State, the head coaching position, along with the coordinators, along with assistant coaches at this level need to be a certain amount of money to keep people and to be competitive. One of the first things kids ask is, Coach, like, what kind of contract did you sign? How long are you going to be there? Mm-hmm. And that's actually paid some dividends for us in the recruiting world. And so my final thoughts on this is not about Tim Polasek. I'm very appreciative of it. I'm grateful. It's just the position moving forward in FBS football is going to be in this realm. I mean, of $1 million plus. And that's just FBS football right now. I mean, if people knew what starting quarterbacks were getting paid when they come out of high school and recruits at the FBS level, they'd be shocked. I think the going rate is starting at 1.5.
Wow. Out of high school?
Out of high school for those very top tier guys. I tell you, I was with Tristan Wirfs. He took me out for dinner and I got to hang out with him. I'm not going to say any names, but he said, rookies are really struggling understanding that their job is to have the beef jerky stocked in the O-line room in the refrigerators, but we're not getting away from that here at NDSU. Yeah. Earn it, know your place, those kind of things. It's getting a little bit sporty, and the good news is with our program, hopefully everybody continues to support it because it is based on retention and earn it moving forward, and that goes for coaches as well.
Appreciate the time. The countdown is officially on. Have a great holiday weekend, and we'll catch up soon, okay?
Yeah, I look forward to seeing all the videos. You got to get creative this year. Let's find some new ones.
I've got some new ones. I got some stuff planned for. Don't you worry.
All right, go Bison.
All right, there he goes. Thanks, Tim. Tim Polasek joining us, head football coach, North Dakota State. We are officially with Jacksonville State. A week from yesterday, we will find out the time and the network. I'll have my prediction on that over the weekend. I'm going to do that for a story, but for those listening, I'll give you a heads up. It's going to be 6:30 on CBS Sports Network. That's what we're going with right now. That's a moderately informed guess. It's the best way I can phrase that. But he's talking about the countdown videos. For those that follow me on social media know I do the 100-day countdown, which official first one goes at about 40 minutes. 10 o'clock every day we'll do that. With that, we say good morning, everybody. Welcome to the show. We got a packed guest lineup. That was a heck of a way to start. We got some other great guests coming up here. Our lineup is brought to us always by Northwestern Mutual. Coming up in about 15 minutes, I'm really excited to have Madison McKeever with us, the pride of Erskine, Minnesota, who won a state championship at Winnemac. Had a great career at the University of South Dakota. She is now the women's basketball head coach at Bemidji State. That became official yesterday. Maddie's been assistant coach at St. Thomas for the last 4 years with Ruth Sin. Now she's a head coach in the NSIC. Excited to have Madison join us at 9:35. Our second hour, you'll meet, I think, literally the next big thing in North Dakota high school girls basketball. Anna Claire Bugbee will join us from Mandan, North Dakota. You have seen her the last couple of years of the state tournament. She was fantastic this past year in the WDA, second team all-state selection. Recruiting has certainly picked up for her. South Dakota State, North Dakota State, South Dakota all offered in the last 72 hours, I want to say. So we'll visit with her at 10 o'clock. And at 10:35, Andrew Nagy, newest member of the North Dakota State men's basketball team, will join us, transferring in from Point Loma College out in California. Might be the last addition to this team, 6'9". He was a D2 conference player of the year for his school, transferred in from Long Beach State, so he has D1 experience. He will join us at 10:35. So a lot to get to here on a busy Thursday. Glad you're joining us. We'll take our first break. We come back. A dominant day for Joe Ryan yesterday and the Twins. Highlights of that and a recap of a busy day of the NBA and NHL playoffs. Hot Mic is off and rolling. We're back after this on WDAY Extra, KSFL, KMBN, and Inforum.com.